Well, thank you very much, and another warm welcome to Dar es Salaam. I'm at a polling station that has just closed, so it did start on time. By the time when we got here about an hour ago or so, things were a bit slow. It did seem like everyone was keen to cast their vote, had already done so. A few people still trickling in a short while ago, but as we speak, this particular polling station has closed. There were a few couple of incidents, not major. One perhaps worth mentioning was one in Mbezi, which was a polling station that opened late, and there was a bit of a standoff between the voters and the police. But from what we are told, a crew is there. One of our crews is there checking the situation out, and from what we are told, everything is now under control. There's a heavy police presence, but all the people who are supposed to, the polling station will be open until everyone has cast their vote. But joining me now, just for their sense of what has happened today and what they think of how things went, is of course the head of the East African Communities Observer Mission, His Excellency Awori. His Excellency, thank you very much for joining us here at the SABC. Your sense of just how things went today?
I am indeed extremely happy that my colleagues and I, who witnessed here when the station was opening, I think we are very encouraged with the behavior of the voters and the officials. You know, we were here just before 7 o'clock in the morning, and all the officials were in place, and there were already voters actually waiting for 7 o'clock to start. And when 7 o'clock started, they started voting, and everything seemed to go very, very smoothly here.
And from what you've picked up from your observers around the country?
I think we did visit a total of 7 polling stations, and it was only in one area where there was somebody who wanted serious help because her name did not appear on the form where the voting was, and she had been moved from one place to another. But she did get help. This is the most important thing, that as soon as they realized her problem, they served her.
Now, as a former deputy head of state yourself, what for you does the way the Tanzanians have conducted themselves throughout the campaigning period up until today, what does that mean for our continent?
I think this is the way to go, because the day of voting is just one, and they vote once in every 5 years. So it is very important to remember that do not do anything that will cause a problem for the next 5 years. And I think people in Tanzania, from what I have seen, and I'm only speaking of areas I have seen, which are 7, I think they have behaved extremely well, and this is a sign for Africa that you should exercise your rights to vote, and that you should accept whatever the verdict of the people is.
Lastly, and very briefly, and this is the question I'm putting to all elder statesmen on our continent, there is still a tendency. We've seen several cases of leaders who are refusing to leave office and are employing whatever means necessary to stay in power. Just your thoughts on that.
I think it's very unfortunate, because whenever a person is elected, when they are sworn in, they are sworn in to uphold the Constitution. And they should also remember that they are mortal and that there are others who can take on. And therefore, it is very important on the continent that when your term ends, you should say, thank you for giving me the opportunity, allow others to proceed and to continue. That helps a person to leave a legacy.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for talking to the South African Broadcasting Corporation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm the head of the East Africa Observer Mission here in Tanzania, just sharing with us his views. From everyone that we've spoken to, certainly the observer missions and other people who have been observing this election, it does seem that by and large things have gone extremely well. Well, the attention, of course, moves now to the National Electoral Commission as the counting begins right from this moment onwards. Until later on, it's back to you in the studio in Johannesburg.
Well,